Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 761st stated meeting of the Philadelphia Historical Commission. Seeing a quorum of commissioners in attendance, I call this meeting to order. First, we'll go around the room to my left and introduce themselves, have all of the commissioners introduce themselves. I'm Zachary Frankel, Chair of the Philadelphia Historical Commission.
Good morning, Dan McCoubry, architect and chair of the Architectural Review Committee.
Kareem Abou-Saab, designee for the Commerce Department.
Kyle O'Connor, representing the Department of Public Property.
Good morning, Matthew Treat, representing Department of Planning and Development.
Bob Thomas, a preservation architect here in Philadelphia and a member of the commission.
Good morning, Donna Carney, designee of the Planning Commission.
Good morning, Franz Raubauer.
Good morning, Emily Cooperman, architectural and landscape historian and chair of the Historic Designation Committee.
Good morning, John Leck, representing the Department of Licenses and Inspections.
Great. Thank you, commissioners. Now I'll turn over to Dr. John Farnham to explain a little bit about how this meeting is going to run.
Thank you, Chair Frankel. A couple of notes about today's meeting. The meeting is being recorded, and by participating in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. The recording will be available either later today or on Monday on the Historical Commission's website, www.phila.gov. That's phila.gov/historical. There you'll find the recording of the meeting. Also on the public meetings page of the web page, you'll find everything you need to participate in today's meeting, including the agenda for the meeting and all applications, as well as public comment received by noon yesterday. Most matters on the agenda include an opportunity for public comment. If you'd like to comment, you'll need to raise your hand. If you're out participating in this meeting virtually out in the Zoom world, you'll need to use the raise your hand feature, and then you'll have to mute and unmute as you're directed to speak by the chair. If you happen to be on a telephone, we don't have any telephone callers right now, but if you do, *9 to raise your hand and *6 to mute and unmute. The commission typically makes its decisions by unanimous consent, but if there is apparent disagreement among commissioners, a roll call vote will be conducted. Finally, the Historical Commission has adopted guidelines for conduct at its meetings. If you're unfamiliar with those, they are available on the public meetings page of the Historical Commission's website. With that, I will turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Farnham. The first item on today's agenda is the adoption of the meeting minutes from the 760th meeting of the Philadelphia Historical Commission. Are there any comments from commissioners at this time? Seeing no comments, are there any comments from the public at this time?
No hands are raised either here in the room or remotely.
Great. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes from last month's meeting? Any object? Seeing no objections, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you, commissioners. With that, we'll move into the report on the Architectural Committee, and the first item on the agenda, 1301-25 Chestnut Street, Unit A, the Wanamaker Building, and we will turn it over to John Farnham to present.
Well, that matter is on the consent agenda, so you can adopt that without a presentation by the staff or the applicant if you choose to.
Okay. Is there a motion for commissioners to adopt? Okay. Any object? Seeing no objections, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. We will then move on to 1601 South 13th Street. We'll turn over to Alex Till, to present.
Thank you, Chair. This is Alex Till with the staff. If we could please raise Sarah Pochedley to panelist for this application. She's the applicant. If anyone else from Toner Architecture is there as well. And I will read a brief overview. So this in-concept application proposes to convert the former St. John's Baptist Church in South Philadelphia to residential use. The church, which is currently vacant, was designed in 1892 as the Church of the Reconciliation, and the attached chapel and school building were designed in 1899, both in the Romanesque revival architectural style. The application proposes to renovate the building and insert additional floor levels inside to convert it to use as a 26-unit apartment building. It proposes to install a series of new dormers clad with fiber cement siding along both sides of the steeply pitched main church roof, and to replace all of the existing stained glass windows with aluminum framed clear glass windows. It further proposes to infill several existing doors and convert them to windows, replace the entry doors, insert window wells at existing basement window locations, and enlarge the associated windows, install several new windows and skylights, and replace the current slate roof with a new asphalt shingles with a rectangular slate-like appearance. Apologies, I forgot to mention up front, this is an in-concept application. At the Architectural Review Committee's meeting last month, they did not vote on a particular recommendation for this application. But after a review by the committee and a conversation with the applicants submitted some revisions for the proposal, including reducing the number of skylights on the roof of the sanctuary and changing the proposed dormers to a fewer number of shed-roofed designs in place of the pitched roof ones that they had before.
Thank you very much, Alex. We'll now turn over to the owner and applicant. Is there anything you'd like to add to Mr. Hill's presentation?
No, I think he explained it quite thoroughly. And just one note is we're just in base conceptual design here. So getting your in-concept comments will let us know if this project is viable to be able to move forward into schematic design through construction documents.
Great, thank you. Are there any comments from commissioners at this time?
Dan McCoubry, I would just say that the committee had no issue with the idea of putting in dormers in. It was really how the dormers were done. And I think the applicant has shown one other possibility here with a shed roof dormer, or several possibilities with shed roof dormers. It probably would be helpful to see individual dormers with shed roofs as well. There is an opportunity with the larger shed dormers to add more windows if that's something you would want, and making it a little more clear story-like. But that's
great.
Pretty much it.
Any other comments from commissioners at this time?
I mean, I personally find the shed roof dormers a little more intrusive than the gabled ones, visually, in terms of the massing. I mean, I think in terms of and I understand the need to put in fenestration because there's obviously, you've got this huge roof area with no windows, but I think the goal would be to make them as unobtrusive visually as possible, which I realize is a challenge, but
Yes.
that's I think what we should be aiming for.
Yeah, and I think the option that we're not seeing here is individual dormers with shed roofs, which, I think the large shed dormers with so few openings.
Yeah, the massing is,
yeah,
the mass is
more
kind
wall-like.
of intrusive.
Okay.
And the reduction in the skylights is as suggested by the committee.
Yes.
So hopefully that's helpful to you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, the other comment that I would make, which is not really particularly pertinent at this stage of the game, but I think it would be preferable to have a material that looked more like slate than asphalt shingle. There are other materials that roofing materials substitute slates. I realize
Yes.
slate itself is prohibitively expensive, but I think going from slate to asphalt shingle is usually a kind of jarring.
Okay. I know it was a little bit after our submission deadline, but I had forwarded to Alex a couple letters. We do have a contractor on board that's working on pricing. Right now, the ad for replacing the slate is over a $200,000 cost increase over the asphalt shingles. He's in the process of pricing a synthetic like slate look tile, but the prices are coming in, as he said, marginally less. So very expensive still. And we've had the building under an insurance review for being covered, and they are pushing for full new roofing and not to save the existing slate for coverage. So those are just some extra notes on where we are in the process.
Thank you. I do think that working with the Architectural Commission, that there's slate substitutes that would not be a value add or a cost addition, as you mentioned. I think that if we work together, we could find that material.
Okay, yeah, being pointed in the correct direction for that would be wonderful.
Because the other question is what is there a plan for the removed windows?
So we're in basic conceptual design. So right now, we would like to do the aluminum frames with clear glass. In most cases, as you see here, we're proposing double hung windows. And I know that window review is, you know, it's a thing of itself that needs to happen here, but conceptually taking out all the religious stained glass, maybe reusing it inside as art pieces, but the actual unit windows themselves would be clear. And then I guess the second point in that we have not selected a color yet. We were leaning towards a darker color, but I know that we were not to that level of design at this current moment.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners right now? Seeing no comments from commissioners, are there any comments from the public at this time?
We have one hand raised in the room and several online.
Yeah. And we'll start with the room. No, please step up to the microphone and introduce yourself.
Have a seat, comfortable.
Yep.
Make sure the microphone's on. There's a button in the middle. The green label.
Test. Okay, there we go.
Great.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lou Thomas. I live in the neighborhood on Annan Street between 10th and 11th. I'm a professor of urban planning at Rowan University. I know this corner well. My daughter took music lessons there for a year, and I would often sit on the stoop and look at this church while she was in her music lessons. And I'm just here as a neighbor in enthusiastic support of this project going forward in any way possible. It's a dormant building, a block from the Broad Street line and a whole bunch of great transit options. It's a great neighborhood. It's incredibly walkable. All the research I look at shows adding more units helps stabilize rents or slows down their increase, and it's an increasingly expensive neighborhood too. So, anything you all can do to help get this project going. And, it seems like the architects want to keep the gist of the church, which is like a wonderful thing and a cool building to keep. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you. With that, we'll turn over to comments from the virtual audience.
Yes, first is Hannah Stark.
Go ahead, Ms. Stark.
Good morning, commissioners. This is Hannah, the Director of Policy and Communications at the Preservation Alliance. We had nominated St. John's Baptist Church back in 2020, and we're really happy to see an adaptive reuse scheme come about now that the congregation has vacated the church. And we appreciate the design team while working in concept to iterate on the roof changes. We think the shed dormers are a step in the right direction and look forward to, seeing the final design details when this comes back for final approval, but think things are moving in the right direction, and think that this can be a great adaptive reuse project if done correctly. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Next is Julia Heyman.
Go ahead.
Hi, Hey, thank you. I just wanted to echo some of the comments made previously about how I think this is terrific. This is a wonderful adaptive reuse project and it's wonderfully located. It is incredibly hard to find new jobs for buildings that have outlived their original purpose. I think this is a terrific idea, but I do want to reiterate previous comments about how it is quite a big jump from slate to asphalt shingle. I think there are a lot of financially advantageous slate alternatives that could be a better suit and make it a better fit for the building. However, I do want to slightly disagree from previous comments in support of the shed dormers. I think the gable dormers better reflect, it makes it a less jarring experience to go from grade to roof line. When you view up, there's tons of other gabling already on the exterior of the building. And I think that the gabling reflects the rest of the exterior of the structure better than shed dormers would. That's just obviously my personal opinion, but while you're here asking for opinions, that is mine. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Next is Ben Schurhammer.
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Ben Schurhammer. I'm a resident on the block. Have lived on the block for quite a few of the past years and love the neighborhood. Really appreciate just this commission's, just willingness to look at this project and as neighbors, we're very curious about where this project is going. Concern, which may fall outside the bound of this discussion on behalf of the neighbors, is just the amount of units that are proposed to be installed in such a small space, parking, sewage, things like that. So it's obviously a very old lot, and we're just concerned with the surrounding infrastructure with adding a large amount of units to the area. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Two more. Next hand raised. Someone signed in just as Jeremy.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Hello. Yeah, I just want to reiterate some of the previous comments. I'm a big fan of adaptive reuse, especially right next to the Broad Street line. It's good to see a lot more housing units come in right next to transit. And I think the aesthetics conversion is pretty nice. So, big fan. That is all.
Thank you, Jeremy. We'll turn over to the last public comment.
Last, I believe, is Laura Mark.
Go ahead, Ms. Mark.
Yes, hello. My name is Laura Mark. I am a neighbor on the 1500 block, so about a half a block away from this project. And I am also an architectural designer at the firm of Richard W. Tom. Big fan, as people have said, of adaptive reuse. We know how hard it is to reuse these churches. I also had some thoughts on the roofing material and the dormers. My personal opinion is I would love to see some arched dormers in there. That there are so many arched windows in the building. I understand it's a little more costly, but that's just my 2 cents on that. My concern lies in having seen some of the conceptual plans. I understand those may be changing. There is a small sort of alleyway between the church and the next door building. There are proposed units in the basement that are going to be the light and air in those units are going to be dugout windows, and the 2 stories, or both buildings are 3 stories. The alleyway is about 5 feet, something like that. And it's also the fire egress for the building, for the church. I'm just not sure that we're, just because you might be able to do something, I'm not sure you always should do it,
Thank you, Ms. Mark.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time?
Oh, I'm sorry, we have a hand going up and down. No hands are raised. I don't know if there are other comments here in the room.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from commissioners at this time?
One other comment on the dormers is the width of the thickness of the cheek walls. The face that you see should be really reduced to the minimum amount possible, and the window fit the full width of the dormer.
Okay.
Whether they're shed or gable, but that's make the windows as wide as possible and the thickness of the cheek walls as thin as possible.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan. Any other comments from commissioners this time? Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, on the roofing material, I'm sure the staff can advise you on asphalt shingles, which are actually made with the intent of replacing slate. Obviously, it's not slate, but they're thicker. They have shadow and so forth. They're readily available. We've used them for decades now.
Thank you. Emily?
Oh, just one other thought about the stained glass. I mean, I don't know if any precedents, and maybe Bob or Dan wouldn't be familiar with them, but I think that it's conceivable that some of the units might advantageously retain a stained glass window. I mean, depending on the layout, it might be an attractive feature. I think I've seen that in some other conversions. So I hope you will explore that.
We can look into that.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners this time? Seeing no comments from commissioners, is there a motion at this time?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead. Tom.
I move that we approve the in-concept proposal for 1601 South 13th Street, taking into consideration the comments made about the dormers and roofing material and windows.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any commissioners opposed at this time? Seeing no opposition, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you very much, commissioners and the public and the applicant. We'll move on to our next order of business on the report of the Architectural Committee 2224 and 2226 West Tioga Street, and we'll turn over to Ted from the Historical Commission staff to present.
Good morning, everyone. Before I read a brief overview, can Matt Master-Pasqua be elevated to speak, as well as, I believe, Brian Wise and Alex Lipkin, who are parts of the ownership and development team, may also wish to speak. They can raise their hands to be elevated. This in-concept application proposes constructing a 3-story addition at the rear of 2224 and 2226 West Tioga Street, the Conkling Armstrong houses. The development of the site to create 12 apartments will enable the restoration of the elaborate front and side facades of the historic twin buildings, which have sat vacant for several years. In 2021 and 2023, Historical Commission staff approved a make-safe application, which required the interior demolition of the building so that it could be shored up, and also demolition of the 3rd floor mansard roof and dormers on the rear L, with the condition that those elements be reconstructed. This proposal includes that reconstruction work in concept. The applicants have also submitted a thorough masonry restoration plan, which could be reviewed at the staff level for the historic buildings. The application also proposes the creation of basement egress in the historic structures by creating wells and lengthening existing basement windows on the side elevations. The proposed addition would face Eastaw Street, but be set back from the street across a small parking lot. The proposed addition would also be visible from 23rd Street and minimally visible from West Tioga Street. The Architectural Committee found that the proposed addition is appropriate in scale, size, and material, but did not make a motion on this in-concept application.
Thank you, Ted. We'll now hear from the applicant and owner.
Hi, Matt Master-Pasqua. I am the architect and applicant for the project. I do not really have anything to add to Ted's presentation there. I think he did a great job summarizing. So I will just pass it over to the owner to see if they have any comments and then address anything that the commission might have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning. How you doing? I don't have any additional issues right now. I think you did a great job as well.
Thank you. Any comments from commissioners at this time?
I think the only comments from the architectural committee involved a study of how the new rebuilt addition or the new addition connects to the existing building. And also potentially allowing for a somewhat simpler rebuild of the missing portion of the building, if that proves to be more sustainable, financially sustainable. Other than that, we thought it was a terrific project.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners this time? Are there any comments from the public at this time?
Yes, 3 hands raised.
Okay.
First is Hannah Stark.
Go ahead, Ms. Stark.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Hannah Stark with the Preservation Alliance. Just really wanting to echo that we are so excited to see this project being proposed. You know, these buildings are so significant, the Conkling Armstrong houses. So to have, you know, what seems to be a viable project be submitted, it's really, really exciting. And we think this does a great job of respecting the historic architecture. And again, look forward to reviewing the final details when this comes back for a final approval. So kudos to the applicant and the owner. A great project, it seems like. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is David Traub.
Go ahead, Mr. Traub.
Yeah, David Traub, Save Our Sites. I want to echo Anna's comments. You know, it's wonderful to see this project move ahead. And I think the simplicity of the building is in order given the ornate and elaborate quality of the historic building that it attaches to. My one comment, if we could see the building in relationship to the elevation of the existing building, there was I'm looking at a drawing on my computer. Another computer. Yeah, that's the one on the lower right-hand side. And I just comment that the detail of the cornice, overhanging cornice with the what appears to be brackets or modillions, it just seems to be a different architectural language than that which is seen in the existing buildings. And I think that is a detail that can be looked at. Otherwise, I think this is a remarkable project, and I would love to see it go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next comment.
Last hand raised is Julia Heyman.
Go ahead, Ms. Heyman.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to kind of echo David Traub's comments. I think this drawing here on the screen does a really good job of showing it. I was wondering if it would be possible to consider, again, kind of switching that roof line. You have that more mansard-like roof line, and then you go to this, you know, widely overhanging eaves. And I think you could do perhaps a better job of continuing the design language from the front to the back without sacrificing any size in any of the units, by possibly considering an alternative roof line. However, I do want to also commend the owner and the designers for working on this. I think these houses are incredibly significant, and it's also an incredibly challenging restoration project. So I think anyone who wants to dive in on reviving these properties is worth having their moment. So thank you for working on this. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments this time?
No, I don't believe so. No hands in the room.
Any other comments from commissioners at this time? Seeing no. Oh, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, just listening to what people were saying. I think the addition, given that it's in the rear, given that it's an addition, handles this really well. It doesn't need, in fact, the original buildings might not have even matched the front and the side. So we see that often. So I just want to compliment the developer and the architect.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no comments from commissioners, is there a motion at this time?
Dan McCoury, I will make a motion for conceptual approval for renovations and additions at 224 to 26 West Tioga Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are any commissioners opposed at this time? Hearing no opposition, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you, commissioners. We'll move on to our next order of business on the report of the Architectural Commission, 4221 Pine Street, and we'll turn it over to Kim Chantry to present. Go ahead, Kim.
Good morning. Tony, if we could please promote Dr. Gina Ross, the property owner and applicant, and I'll read a brief overview. This application proposes legalizing the removal of slate and replacement with GAF Timberline HGZ fiberglass asphalt shingles in a brown color on the mansard at 4221 Pine Street. This twin property is part of a larger development row on the 4200 block of Pine Street, all of which historically featured slate mansard roofs. The properties on the block were listed on the Philadelphia Register of Historic Places in July 2024 as part of the Southeast Spruce Hill Historic District, meaning that any slate mansard replacement prior to written notice being sent to property owners was not reviewed by the Historical Commission. In November 2025, a community member contacted the Historical Commission to inform it of the recent replacement of slate with brown fiberglass asphalt shingles at the property. The Department of Licenses and Inspections issued a violation for roofing work without a building permit, prompting this request for legalization from the property owner. Slate roofs have a lifespan of about 60 to 125 years, and the Historical Commission staff acknowledges that the slate on the mansard reached the end of its lifespan, but it would have been unable to administratively approve a brown fiberglass asphalt shingle as a replacement had this application been submitted as a building permit application for review in advance of the work commencing. The Architectural Committee recommended denial pursuant to Standard 6.
Thank you, Kim. We'll now hear from the owner and applicant if they're available.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go
Good.
ahead, Mr. Ross.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Gina Ross, and I'm the owner of 4221 Pine Street. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I want to acknowledge in advance that the roofing work was performed without the required permits or approval from the Historical Commission, and that was done by the contractors, not in my direction. And once I became aware, I immediately engaged with the staff and began taking steps to address the issue appropriately. I understand that today's application is limited to whether the existing brown asphalt shingles as installed should be legalized. I'm here in good faith to participate in that review and to accept the commission's determination. Regardless of the outcome today, my intention is to bring the property into full compliance with the city and Historical Commission requirements and to resolve the active L&I violation in a responsible manner. Thank you for your time and for your consideration.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Ross. All right. Any comments from commissioners at this time?
The committee agreed with the staff that the brown asphalt shingles are not appropriate, that there are other elements of the roofing system that are not present. The coping or the ridge capping at the top and the hip cap are gone. And there was also concern about personal concern about some of the other details, the guttering, the missing downspouts, the rotting cornice that appears in some of the photographs that that should be part of a roofing system.
Any other comments from commissioners at this time?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
If the commission denies this application, I suggest you research with your contractors or the professionals to see if it's possible to recolor to a more appropriate color in place. There is materials that can do that. So just keep that in mind as an option.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments, commissioners, at this time? Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I realize this is a very difficult situation for the owner, but this really, if this was on the back of the building or something, but this is really a principal element of what you see in these buildings. You know, it could have been, I think it could have been done in a fiberglass replacement. but with the right fiberglass, with the right trim and so forth, at probably very little additional cost, if any. I know when we've had windows that were put in without a permit that don't match, we've asked for several to be replaced each year or something, to schedule that. We could do something of that nature. There are a number of planes of this roof. They don't have to all be done at once. But I do think it's very hard to say yes, because then we set a bad precedent. I think also the contractor should have insurance. Now, that's not our business. We're not lawyers, but I do think when someone does improper work, if they had a policy, that's something you could look to.
Sure. So it's out of our purview, but yes, I agree. So, any other comments from commissioners at this time? Seeing no comments from commissioners, or any comments from the public at this time?
No hands are raised.
Okay. Is there a motion from commissioners at this time?
I will make, Dan McCoubry, I will make a motion for denial of legalization of the asphalt shingles at 4221 Pine Street.
Second.
Any opposed? Seeing no opposition, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you, commissioners.
May I make a comment?
Go ahead.
I really appreciate the owner's comment and willingness to work with the commission. I think the staff has a lot to offer, and that's included in your building permit fee or whatever. So work with them, and I think we may see you again with a phased solution or something of that nature. But and obviously we appreciate that you have taken on one of these large buildings in University City.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Ross. We look forward to working with you, and our Historic Commission staff is here to work with you.
May I just add one small thing to that, which is that Dr. Ross, I think we would encourage Dr. Ross to work with the staff on some of the other roofing related issues that Dan McCreary brought up about the condition of the cornice, downspouts, and so on, and the staff will be able to assist you more than ably in addressing some of these potentially pretty big problems down the road. So we would encourage you to do that as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners at this time? We adopt that? We did. Okay, thank you. All right, great. Moving on to the final order of business, in the Architectural Commission, 423 and 425 Vine Street. We'll turn over to Allison from the Historical Commission staff to present on this.
Good morning, everyone. If Wendy Sumida is logged in online, if she could be elevated to panelist. Tony, if you could do that, thank you. Also, if the owner, Charles Ellison, is online or in the room, please come up to the table now. Thank you. So this application seeks final approval to demolish a section of the rear L of the row house at 423 Vine Street and construct a wider L in its place. The building at 423 Vine Street was constructed in 1799 and is classified as a significant resource in the Old City Historic District. The property is now combined with 425 Vine Street as a single-family residence. The house that once stood at 425 Vine Street was demolished in the 1940s, and the land is used for parking, open space, and a roof deck by 423. The rear L has two sections, a stucco-clad section closer to the main block and a brick-clad section at the rear. On historic maps, let's see, sorry about this. The stucco-clad section is proposed for demolition. The brick-clad section would be retained. Based on historic maps and current photographs, the area proposed for demolition appears to be original. It is likely that the L's original exterior was brick, but is now covered with stucco. A porch was added to the stucco section of the L, and the historic windows were replaced at some point with 1/1 windows. The stucco section of the L was originally 3 stories, but the 3rd floor has been removed on the interior. The new infill construction is proposed to be a similar height, but with a wider footprint. Brick veneer cladding and Fibrix windows are proposed for the exterior. The staff recognizes that although the stucco section of the L is likely original and therefore significant, this area of the rear of the main block is not visible from the public right-of-way. And you can see in the photograph here, you can see this is a view from the street. And this is the front part of the L is the part we're discussing today. And the rear part here will remain in place. So we have, and the Architectural Committee recommendation was denial pursuant to standards 9 and 10. We have owner Charles Ellison here to present, and online we have designer Wendy Sumida to also address the concerns that the Architectural Committee had.
Thank you, Allison. We'll now turn it over to the owner and applicant to present.
Good morning. This is Wendy Sumida speaking. I'm the architect for this project. I would like to begin by providing some background and context on the design proposal and lead into the revisions that were made per the comments received during the architectural meeting. If we can, please pull up page 3 of the presentation. Thank you very much. So in January of last year, my clients Charlie and Alina purchased this Vine Street home with the intention of modifying the existing stair circulation to better serve their modern family needs prior to moving in. They have since welcomed their first child and also have their retired mother-in-law living with them. The current stairways pose safety and usability concerns for all, especially for young children and elderly adults. They are narrow, steep, and do not meet current code requirements. These photos that we're looking at are of the first floor stairs. As you can see, they are steep, and the current railing, stair treads, and winder steps are not code compliant. On the next page, we are looking at photos of the stairs down to the basement. We are immediately greeted with head height issues upon entering, and it is again narrow and steep and difficult to navigate and maneuver around. The basement is where the laundry is currently located, which would require, everyday access and just simply cannot be conducive to daily use. During the design phase, we made an effort to explore solutions that would resolve the stair circulation issues while maintaining as much of the current structure as possible. Unfortunately, stairs require a lot of space, and it became apparent that there were no viable solutions given the existing dimensional limitations. If we can go to the next page, the plans highlighted in yellow show the relocation of the stairs in the north-south direction. This resulted in an unusable dining room and family room above, as it left little floor area for space planning. I don't know if you can see the dimension strings on there, but it left around 6 to 7 feet of space once the new stairway is in its new location. The plans highlighted in blue illustrate a different approach where we tested the relocation of the stairs outboard of the exterior wall. This layout prevented views into the current courtyard and blocked a lot of the natural daylight. The basement stairs still needed to be relocated within the interior as we did not want to compromise the existing foundation walls by excavating for new basement access below the proposed outer stairs. This would also have been just structurally and financially prohibitive. For these reasons, we are seeking approval for a design solution that would require partial demolition of the rear L, as mentioned, so that we can increase the plan width to accommodate both functional living space and stairways. On the next page, we have included photos of the existing home with the area of the proposed work circled red in on the lower left. It is currently a heavily stuccoed wall with a balcony that connects to a deck above the garage built in 2000. The following page includes photos from the street view to illustrate that there is no visibility of the rear L from the sidewalk, and this will remain the case with the new addition as it is set back about 3.5 feet from the edge of the front elevation of the home. We also have renderings on the next page to provide further visuals on the proposed addition. I would like to point out that the top 2 images were of our original proposal, and the bottom 2 images are of the revised elevations based upon the feedback received during the architectural review. The suggestion was to consider fenestration that would be more compatible with the existing historical context. And here we are now showing double hung windows with grills that echo the existing front windows. The window proportions, patterning, and sill heights match more closely to the adjacent rear portion of the home. And the door style has been changed to reflect something that is more traditional. Lastly, we're making an effort to match the existing brick as much as possible to further extend the existing historic characteristics of the home. And we have photos of brick samples to demonstrate this. At this time, I would like to hand the floor over to my client for additional insight and commentary that he would like to share with the committee.
Sure.
Good morning, Charlie Ellison here, homeowner. I think my wife is on Zoom as well, but yeah, we're the homeowners of this home. As a lifelong Philadelphian, it's always my dream in South Philly or in Old City. Coming from South Philly, that's a big move for my wife. She's excited to move to Old City. Like many, too loud. Like many Philadelphians who buy houses in Old City, we're probably, I don't know, just naive and overly optimistic at the scope of work involved here. And I heard an interesting quote the other day from our Old City District Executive Director that staircases in houses take up more room than we think they do. So when we looked at this house and purchased it, I think we didn't fully understand the complexities of, as the architect said, the space limitations inside. So we went through so many design options with our architect. We consulted a few outside experts who do historic preservation because we did not want to remove this wall, partly for the historic aspects, partly for the scope of work involved in removing this wall. I myself tried to assess the thickness of the stucco, and I wore through very quickly a diamond circular saw blade and barely even made 3 inches. So we hired a master mason to come out in our efforts to help us date this wall. Originally, we had questions about its originality. We had heard from previous owners that in some work in the 60s, that wall may have been rebuilt after a small fire. We didn't find evidence of that. The fire ended up being from 1897, much longer ago. So all the evidence points to this wall being original, but there are like 4 inches of stucco on it from the 60s. And again, at some point in the 80s, and then again, some patches from previous owners in the 90s. All that to say, we made every possible effort we could to consider options that didn't involve bringing down this wall. And we just were not able to find any that still allowed us to have a dining room. And the root issue here are these stairs. I'm joined today by my older adult mother-in-law who just moved in with us as she retired a few months ago. She's new to Philly, but these stairs are just, they present challenges for her. And, you know, I'm in my early 40s. They present challenges for even me. I've already eaten it, bringing some stuff up these stairs. We've got a baby at home. We want more babies. So the root cause is we need to address these stairs, and we've made every possible effort with design considerations that don't allow us to do this. I'll wrap up here in just saying that this house has been empty for a while. The bills are adding up, and obviously they're our responsibility now. So we have some hardships just in floating to mortgages, but also just in the needed repairs for this house. There's 20-something years of deferred maintenance that as we bring in more and more experts to help us assess the condition of the wall, we find issues with other masonry. So we have a structural engineer that we retained through Wendy. We want to get to work on this house. We want to stay here. And I think the most important is, as I heard mentioned, the principal elements here. I have no background in this. I'm an Army grunt, but the principal element here, this was originally constructed to be an alley wall. You can see it's a different masonry. The sections we've cut out, as well as like looking up into the foundation, you can see it's like just, it was probably cheap brick that originally made it, right? It was an alley wall. There was originally a house immediately adjacent at the 425 property. There is no public view here. The garage is in front of it. There used to be a 3rd floor. There's no longer a 3rd floor. I hired 2 different photographers to take photos. You're not seeing all the photos we took, but we went through every possible like angle to identify, is there any public view here? And you can't see anything from public view. That was a source of discussion when we presented to the architectural review committee of whether or not this was in public view. And you don't see the 50-something other photos. These are the best ones that we had Wendy select in her professional expertise. But bottom line, there's no public view. We've got support from a lot of our neighbors to do this. There's no local opposition. We're already very active and very involved in this very unique corner of Old City that is a South Philadelphia. And I didn't even know that this unique corner of Old City existed. And I think you might hear from one of our neighbors in a minute, but if you look at the block, you probably can't see it from these photos, but this is the last single family home on this block of Vine Street. The house right next door to us that would be 421, but is actually, their address is Lawrence Street. They're single family, but their address is Lawrence Street. They're single family as well, but everything next to us And across the street from us on Vine is condos and apartments. Now we've got this huge luxury condo building, which the house had been vacant for a while, but that was pretty much why the previous owners decided to sell. So the fabric of the neighborhood is changing. We've always wanted to own a historic home in Philly. This is our forever home. In order to make it our forever home, in order to do everything else we can to preserve every other principal aspect of this house, we can't do anything unless we can build these stairs, and we can't build these stairs unless we can do something with the wall. So thank you all for your time today. I appreciate all you do. I know it's a very tough job that you all have.
Thank you. Any comments from commissioners? Go ahead, Bob.
A quick question. What's the interior dimension? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, had it on. What's the interior dimension in that L?
It's small. It's barely a good sized dining room as it is. I'll let Wendy speak to the specifics when we got them up here. But given that we have our stairs to our basement, but then we've got the exterior door to our courtyard as well. It's just,
I see. I'm going to get to
it's a small dining room as it is.
8 feet, 10 feet.
Wendy, can you articulate the dimensions of the dining room?
Yes, if I can just have a moment here, I'm pulling up the file so that I can measure.
Take your time. I just want to confirm that it is small, and then I have some comments.
The current width of the dining room is measuring at 10 feet.
10 feet, so it's pretty tiny. Okay. What I guess my own feeling listening to this is that I'm convinced also that this rear L is not visible. I do feel that to preserve this house as a single family house to meet modern requirements, I have an 1889 house, and the steps from the basement to the first floor that I use every day, I struggle with. Other stairs not. So we get that. We actually do not regulate the interiors, I think, with 5 or 6 exceptions of principal public interiors. So, changing in the inside, it's not a problem. It's really that I would agree that it needs the space. And even if this is 1799 construction, I think that I personally believe it's a reasonable request because of its lack of visibility and the energy that will be put into the house as a whole in terms of the facade and the street presence that the public will enjoy. I think it's justified.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners?
Well, as Bob said, and the issue, we don't regulate what happens on the interior. So if you wanted to gut this and completely rebuild it on the interior, obviously we would have nothing to say. It's the question of the exterior walls, and I think it's as an architectural historian, I just want to make sure that you understand, and this is really something that I sort of feel compelled that I have to say, even though I know it's not, we have no say over what happens in the interior. That is 1799 construction. That is the fact that the wall adjacent to the stair going down is plank. That's increasingly rare. I'm glad we have photographs of it. It's unfortunate that your needs are going to require its removal. I understand, but I really felt I had to say this. Other than that, I think I agree with Bob. I mean, I think it's not visible.
Well, I would agree with you that it is an important element that people will be interested in.
Yeah.
We document it. It's online.
Right.
There are many things I refer to every day that are no longer in existence, but they've been documented so you can understand what's going on.
Yeah, I suspect the stairs going down may actually be a little bit later, but the structure and the winder are certainly date to the original construction of the house. Just judging by eye. So I mean, it's probably impossible, but I hope it looks as if the transom on the door may be as well. If any of that could conceivably be salvaged and reused, that would be wonderful. But I think there's no we don't really, given the fact that it's not visible, I think that there's no reason just for us to stand in your way.
If I may, we did look at trying to keep a transom or at least place one back in the new design. However, the current doorway is much shorter than what current door standards are. I think it's around 67 inches or so. I couldn't remember on top of my head. Therefore, we didn't have much head height in order to, at least structurally, to be able to place one back. But we did try and make an effort to look into that.
There's also the King of Prussia marble stoop that you could probably reuse at that door.
Yes, we can certainly look at that if that is significant. And there is currently an existing boot scraper that the owner would like to also replace back and reinstall.
I would say any elements that you can reuse would be great. Even some of the interior paneling, if it would work with the stair system, would be
Yeah, because I mean, that
Would be a
lumber,
gain.
you can't get that lumber anymore.
But the architectural committee struggled with this, but acknowledging that it is not visible and that room, I mean, sometimes we do have to take into account what happens on the inside because
Yeah.
a dining room's got to be at least 9.5 feet wide to work, and this is not. So, and I don't think there are other bays or things like that, just there's not enough room or space or to do that.
Can you perhaps clarify the comment regarding the lumber? Are you referring to the wood that is currently used for the stairways? Is that correct?
I was specifically referring to the plank wall. The painted plank wall, so that you're looking.
Emily, are you talking about
Yeah, I'm
this
talking
right
about
here?
that, and then it's in the photograph immediately above it, looking the other way, looking
Oh, right.
down.
Right there.
Yeah,
I see. Okay. Thank you.
I think the stair itself looks as if it is not, it might be a later replacement. The one going down to the basement, I think the winder is, I can't really quite tell from the photographs, but I think the one going down may have been a later alteration, but it's hard to tell without looking at it and seeing what the nails look like and so on.
Any other comments from commissioners at this time?
But I think, sorry, may I just,
Please, yeah.
sorry
please,
to
please.
interrupt.
No.
I think to answer your question, any of that can be salvaged and reused would be wonderful. The whole,
Okay.
the winder stair, depending on its condition, I can't really tell. It may be not practical. I don't know, because we don't have a lot of details about what the condition is. Obviously, there's carpet on it, so we can't see the treads. So,
We can certainly make that determination upon removal.
right.
Dan, I just wonder if you could have any more insight on the recommendation from the committee about the fenestration, since we can't see that wall. I kind of prefer the original.
Yeah, I think the general comment was the scale of the windows that there and the amount of wall to window. There's, typically the windows would be smaller and there'd be more masonry between them. This is not a visible condition, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not visible, and the use is different than the way people lived in the 18th century. So this is one place I think the idea of accommodating, actually, if you go back and look at Society Hill in the 70s, I was 20, 30, and I watched a lot of things go up, and the whole idea then was the street facade, and behind the back, there was all kinds, out off to Roy Mark did some incredible buildings, but preserved the front. And I think with the lack of visibility here, we're in that situation. Yeah.
So,
I mean, if this was going to be a house museum, people would tour and see what life was like in 1790, then I might feel differently, but
That work for you.
it's a practical 21st century house that's historic, that presents an historic facade to the street, creates the district. I think that's fine.
So with that being said, I guess it's really up to the applicant to decide which window type
I think so.
configuration they would like to use.
Wonderful, thank you.
Are there any comments from the public at this time?
No hands are raised on Zoom.
Is there a motion from commissioners at this time?
Dan McCoubrey, I will make a motion for approval of alterations at 423 to 425 Vine Street with staff to review and approve details.
Second.
Any commissioners opposed at this time? Seeing no opposition, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you to our applicant and our staff.
Thank you very much.
We'll now move on to matters of old business, 6333 Malvern Avenue, and we will keep Allison to present.
Hello again. Can I ask that architect Joe Horan and Todd Reeves, the executive director of Overbrook School for the Blind, come up to the table for the presentation. This application seeks final approval to construct a dining hall and vehicular drop-off area at the Overbrook School for the Blind. The original school was designed by the renowned firm Cope and Stewardson between 1897 and 1900. Today, the school's campus includes approximately 17 buildings constructed between 1897 and 2008. The proposed scope includes the full demolition of Wynwood Hall, constructed in 1960, and the garage, also constructed in 1960, and partial demolition of the food services building, which was constructed in 1975, and Lions Hall, which is the oldest of them all, 1954. Modifications to the facades of these buildings are intended to facilitate connections to the new dining hall building. In addition, the project includes the construction of a new guardhouse near the northeast vehicular gate to better control traffic flow to the campus, and the widening of the east pedestrian gate into a vehicular gate to improve the traffic flow. Owing to the historic wall that surrounds the Overbrook School for the Blind campus, there will be limited visibility of these changes from a public right-of-way. The new dining hall and the gatehouse will be clad in stucco with a standing seam metal roof. The proposed colors of the exterior materials will be similar to the historic main building. And just to quickly summarize the scope of work again, it's to demolish 2 non-contributing buildings and an existing parking area, partially demolish 2 non-contributing buildings, and construct a 1-story dining hall building and connector to main building, widen historic perimeter and construct a guardhouse, and finally to construct a vehicular drop-off area and parking lot. And the Architectural Committee recommended approval provided the issues raised by the committee are addressed and the staff to review details pursuant to standards 9 and 10. Okay, and just real quickly, before we dive into the presentation, I just wanted to point this out. This is an aerial view of the school. Where the cursor is here is on Malvern Avenue. The yellow line is where the new construction will be, the new addition. And then generally this area here where my cursor is, where the yellow, the green, and the green is the area of this project. So just so that it's clear. Okay. And then also this lower photograph is the existing wall looking into that area where a lot of this construction will occur. So today we have with us the designer for this project, Joseph Horan, and then we also have, apologize, my notes are disappearing. We also have the executive director of the Overbrook School for the Blind, Todd Reeves. Thank you.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for having us. This project stemmed largely from the need to improve safety and accessibility for the school. So originally, Overbrook was founded for students with visual impairment. As times have evolved, the demographics and population of the student body has changed significantly. Todd, you can speak a little bit to the demographics?
Sure. Yeah, as Joe was mentioning, and thank you for allowing me to be here and for the work that you do, because I don't have any architectural background, but I like to think I can identify an architectural gem. And the main campus of the Overbrook School for the Blind is just that. When it was constructed in 1900, it was fitting evidence that the Philadelphia community really embraced and honored our students. At that time, we were like Rome. For any child who was blind in Eastern Pennsylvania, all roads led to the Overbrook School for the Blind. So our population at that time was primarily the sole disability of blindness, the sole challenge of blindness. In 1974, just prior to when the dining hall was constructed, what's currently called the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, obligated school districts to open their doors to blind students. And so as school districts were better able to provide the services to students with the sole challenge of blindness, our demographics, our student population began to shift. And at present day, the majority of our students have additional challenges intellectually, communicatively, physically, behaviorally, and medically. So in essence, 15% of our students come to us daily from not only throughout Philadelphia County, but at the surrounding counties as well, with a private duty nurse. Because to address the breadth and depth of their medical complexities, we have over 40% that are non-ambulatory. We have 30% that have seizure challenges that create potential medical kinds of complications and emergencies, crises. So what I love about the school, and I think what everybody loves about the school, again, is its beautiful architecture and why we appreciate Kimmel Architecture working collaboratively with our school community as well as your work to make sure that that gem continues to sparkle well into the future. But I would be less than forthright if I said that my primary interest in this is in the context of safety, and particularly in the area of crisis, to have an integrated, improved transportation scheme, integrated with what would otherwise on a daily basis be a dining hall. But in the context of crisis, could be an area where all of our staff, as well as all of our students, congregate together, along with administrative staff like me, that have internally all of the kinds of built-in safety features that supplement a dining hall, but allow us to care for students during extended times when we need to have them all together. And when I say crisis planning, most people think about active shooter, floods, loss of power. But for our students, when there's a snowstorm that arrives at noon, that creates individualized crises because we have a number of students that transport home. It commonly takes an hour each way. In an area of snowstorm, when traffic patterns can paralyze, that can be a 3-hour transport home for a child who's medically fragile, and you're dealing with private duty nurses and other staff that are concerned about when they'll arrive home to take care of their own children, correct? So to have a situation in which we can have a beautiful dining hall that can be converted into an area where we would otherwise keep children safe as they are reunified with their parents, because their parents are calling in saying, we'll get there before the bus will. All of those kinds of individualized communications. The more we have the opportunity to have everybody together, quite frankly, selfishly, the easier it is on me, right? As well as the more confidence our parents and our students and our staff have in the safety of our students.
Yeah, as Todd had articulated, because of the level of disability with the students, the traditional loading and drop off has changed. And the average drop off for each student averages about 10 to 15 minutes between getting off a bus, loading, and what has evolved. The original main entrance of the campus, which is beautiful off of Malvern Avenue, doesn't work because of the 70 buses that come to campus. So the back door, which is the loading area, and the existing dining, which you see up in the center there, that turnaround is the first experience that students come in. And that's the dumpsters, the trash compactors, things of that nature. So the goal of this project, by demolishing Wynwood and creating this turnaround and this loop, is to allow a dignified entrance and a dignified experience to come to campus, and basically help create that back door to become a front door experience that's equally on par with Malvern Avenue. So we are proposing to remove those two buildings, create this drop off, and then also create this new dining hall and connector, which allows students to get inside and out of the weather quickly. So that's what we're proposing. If you, Allison, if you flip to the next page, please. You'll see there In the dashed are the two buildings that are being demolished, as well as the third building partially. And then the red piece is the addition of the dining hall to Lions Hall, and then the connector piece, which is kind of slotted in between the historic, beautiful main building. Page there. And you can see that's this is the current drop off, which goes around the fuel station, the fuel island, the fleet vehicles, and the trash compactors, dumpsters, and then the proposed loop out to Malvern Avenue on the next slide, please. And we want to green up that central area. It's going to be planted, landscaped, really feel like a front door experience. And we're going to provide covered walkways, covered drop-offs for students to accommodate them in, inclement weather. Flip to next slides, Allison. This is the existing Wynwood Hall that's being proposed to be demolished, which is a residential building. This is the fuel island and the garage building that's proposed to be demolished. These are photos of the existing turnaround now, where you can see the loading dock and the trash compactors. And as you can see, it's not really a very welcoming, experience that you'd want to, see the first thing you come on campus. This is Lions Hall, where our new dining hall will be attaching to. So we're proposing some selective demolition to connect to that building and attach to it. This is the area where our new connector piece will attach to the existing main building. We're proposing to remove a couple of the windows there, but infill them with stucco and expose that stucco on the interior of the building. This area here, if you go to the next slide, I'm sorry, Allison. There's an existing pedestrian gate, and we are proposing to widen the existing wall in order to create that vehicular loop, which is the one way in, one way out. This is the proposed is on the top, and then the existing gate is on the bottom. And this is just an overall plan that shows sort of the final scenario that's going to be there.
Joe, this is new for this. This was one of the
Correct.
things the committee asked for,
The
correct?
committee had asked to see a floor plan of what the proposed overall would look like on the interior. So the parking area and the drop-off loop is on the right-hand side in this drawing. And then you're seeing the dining hall in the center section with the kitchen, food storage. And as Todd had said, the dining hall is more than just a dining hall. It is going to be an area of refuge and fully emergency backup power, so that in inclement weather and emergency situations, students can be safely there. And then that lobby connector is what we're slotting in between the existing main building and Neville, again, to get students in and out of the weather. And there's also what we're dealing with on campus are all these buildings are different elevations. So we're using that to help resolve some of the ups and downs in the between the buildings.
Anything else you'd like to present on?
No, I think
Great. Okay, great.
that's
Thank you. No, it's exciting and sounds necessary. I'll turn over to commissioners for any comments. Seeing no comments from.
Well,
sorry.
I want to just
Go
say,
ahead.
just before you, I just want to congratulate you on a
Okay.
beautiful design. This is going to be really a big improvement for how you're functioning. I'm really excited for you.
thank you.
And I think the applicant has addressed the questions that the architectural committee had and has developed the entry guard booth, put piers at the new exit, which is a nice touch. And while the connector may not hit the building in an ideal spot, it hits it in a spot kind of where it kind of has to be. So I think there's been a good effort to minimize the impact to the historic building. The elevator tower presumably has been developed.
Correct. I'm
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
I missed that. If you look there, Allison, if you could point to the elevator tower.
Yeah.
There's an existing stair tower that we are raising the roof and inserting an elevator. There's a similar move that was done on the opposite side of the building in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we're matching that on this side. And it'll be clad in the stucco with the reveals, and it will have a tile roof to match the main building.
Excellent. Well, I think the changes fully represent the architectural committee's comments. Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners? Are there any comments from the public at this time?
Yes, one hand raised, David Traub.
Go ahead, Mr. Traub.
David Traub, representing Save Our Sites. You would ordinarily hear me opposing demolition, but in this instance, the demolition very much in order. These buildings are intrusive, don't relate to the site. They're non-contributing, literally and figuratively, and welcome the demolition of them. It cleans up this remarkable site. But going on, the design of the addition is very finely done. It's very compatible with the existing building, very sensitive. I particularly like the covered walkways. I can liken them to what's called loggia. They provide charm and interest to the design, and overall, this is a very, very good project, and we're very appreciative of the designer. Thank you.
Any other public comments at this time?
No other hands are raised.
Seeing no comments, is there a motion from commissioners at this time?
I will make a motion for approval of additions and alterations at 6333 Malvern Avenue with staff to review and approve details.
Second.
Any commissioners opposed at this time? Hearing no opposition, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you to our staff. Thank you to our applicants. It's very exciting. Congratulations. Best of luck.
Thank you all for your work. We really appreciate it.
Yep, sure thing.
And thank you for coming to us in person.
Next, we'll move on to the final order of business and old business, 4370-74 Main Street. We'll turn it over to Josh of the Historical Commission staff to present.
Good morning, I'm Josh Schroeder with the staff. Before I read an overview, can we elevate the applicant Joseph Sarator so he can speak after I read the introduction? So this application is seeking in-concept approval to construct a two-story addition to add 5 residential units to 4370 to 74 Main Street above an existing one-story commercial property. Now a single property and building, the 4370 Main Street portion is classified as contributing to the Main Street Manayunk National Register Historic District, while the 4372 to 74 Main Street portion are classified as intrusions in the district. The current proposal includes a 3-bay, 2-story addition above the contributing portion and features a 2-foot setback from the large store sign kind of parapet above that storefront. No alterations are proposed for that contributing storefront. The 2-story addition above the non-contributing portion will include brick veneer and 2 projecting bays on the second floor. The double door entrance at 4374 Main Street will be altered to include 2 separate entrance doors, while the front at the 4372 Main Street storefront will be altered to match the adjacent in appearance. The building's rear faces the Schuylkill River Trail with substantial public visibility. The proposal generally retains the existing rear exterior's appearance, although parts of the second and third floor rear additions do overhang the original exterior below. At the November 2025 Architectural Committee, the committee voted to recommend denial, largely owing to incompleteness, though comments did include preference for a greater setback than the original 1-foot setback originally proposed behind the storefront and a more orderly appearance in the rear. from the original application. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. We'll now ask to hear from the applicant, the owner.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, please go ahead.
Yes, yes, this was continued from the November Architectural Committee, as Josh pointed out, due to the fact that we were scheduled to have an RCO meeting mid-December, which was in itself pushed back. And of course, we needed more time to confer back with the owner and the zoning attorney as to the approaches. This property is comprised of three separate structures. The 4370, which is the contributing section, as Josh pointed out, with a former old bank building of 1900, and then 4372 directly to the right, and then 4374. 4372, I believe, was annexed to the 4370 at some point because that structure's first floor is aligned with the existing spa, the former bank, but I believe somewhere before the spa took over, my current client, and when the structure was done, they leveled that floor, which has those two windows you see in the front and a brick front that took away from the storefront at one time, and that was joined with the spa. And 4374 to the far right is it's separate vacant commercial space that is approximately 17 inches above grade, whereas the contributing structure and the one joined to it are 32 inches above grade. And those have the original structure has approximately a 12-foot ceiling, owing to probably the bank that it was once was, and the second structure is at 10 feet. The approach here was to retain the existing roofs and build over them because we wouldn't be able to use the structure. So we have a lower section that you enter the units at the far right there, the far right door, and the door next to that would be the door that would go into that commercial space that the spa currently uses, but they have rented it out to separate commercial uses because it's considered 4370-74 parcel A and parcel B, and parcel B is that far right commercial space. The idea here was to continue that original storefront of those two parts, and contribute to the rhythm of the street with the this type of structure, which 3-story brick structure that's proposed, the 2-story above the existing, and then the 1-story bay, which is found common along Main Street, and then the 2-story addition that's proposed above the contributing is now set back 2 feet. It was advised to go back a few more feet, but we can't conceivably do that without losing a lot of square footage. The way that this structure is designed is that you enter the structure, the apartments at the far right, and you go up to a second floor center hall, and that divides the units from the second floor. I think you can see there's a section that I had probably towards the end there that shows that, and yeah, that right there you'll see on the right is the section going through the apartment entry side, and the left one is over top of the contributing structure. You can see the hallway at the second floor up there above that roof on the left side, and those you can see that the two the units there are almost equal with the 2-foot setback, and then in the back we're proposing a 4-foot bays, which are controlled by the L&I, which are permitted, 4-foot rear bays that are over a public way to gain some more square footage, being that the project was pushed back. One of the ways that we had looked at in basically paying respect to the existing building was to not just keep the setback, but also to create a reveal line around the front elevation, so that the new structures, that's if you see the front there, you'll see that dark section in the middle between the brick and there. That is a 1-foot by 2-foot reveal, so that the building turns back So we expressed that the brick structure of the existing contributing building that would turn back and reveal that both at its one-story level and the finial extension that goes up. There's two finials there with a fascia board. That's that's there. That wood slatted panel signage board that's there. So the approach here is to keep more of a modern, modest approach with a very light concrete panel that acts as a backdrop to this the very dark the black painted storefront of the existing salon that's there now with the contributing building and such that side to the left is actually the bridge entry that goes over. It's a walkway bridge that's right there. That's existing. We would most likely open up the brick, expose the brick of the existing contributing structure on that side. And then from there up, that the addition would turn back with the light concrete panel, chip panel boards that would go along that elevation as people, as you walk over the bridge from there back. You'll see from in the back elevation that extension also. The heights we try to keep minimal, but we had an overlay district refusal for that because I think that the overlay district is at I believe at 38 or 40 feet. I forget what it was. For the CMX unit, it's allowed to go to 50 feet, but the overlay is that, so we have to contend with that. And we kept the heights as low as possible with 8-foot ceilings and going over the existing roof structures that exist. You see in the back, there's a 4-story appearance because the existing structure has a basement that walks out to the Riverwalk side. There's a 3-foot section in the back that was probably given as an easement for access to the rear basement that then climbs up along the side and then follows the river walk back to the main street.
Thank you very much. Are
Thank
there
you.
any comments from commissioners at this time?
Well, the key question regarding the Main Street facade was the setback from this kind of original billboard feature on the historic building. And it hasn't moved back very much from when the architectural committee reviewed it. So the question is really how far back can it go or should it go? And I would just point out now that in the elevation drawings, it looks as if the window sills are above the level of the top of that wood of the billboard, I'll call it. And in the section, those sills are way down low. I think no matter what the solution is, there's a kind of a maintenance and water issue there. How that void is drained or whether it should be capped and go back to the building and essentially have a little roof over it. But I think that's an important detail. Currently, it shows a 1-foot slot dropping down, which, and if you look in the section here, you can see the windowsill is well below the level of the top of that billboard. So it's details to be worked out. This is a review in concept, so yes. I think the rear elevation, the changes that have been made do largely reflect the architectural committee's comments.
Any other comments from commissioners? Any comments from the public at this time?
No hands are raised.
Is there a motion from commissioners?
Can I just add one more
Go
comment?
ahead, please,
Sorry.
Ellen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the question of the setback is still the big problem at this point. Just wanted to echo that.
Sure. You care to make a motion on it?
I think Dan McCubry, I'll make a motion for denial of the setback as it's currently shown, but with the understanding that it's going to come back to the architectural committee for kind of a review and discussion and explanation of, what possible alternatives might exist or what the limitations limitations are. I don't know if that's. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a denial of the in concept, but not of all of it.
Yeah. Yes.
That work? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Sorry. Hey.
I'm sorry, what's equally important is the space between that billboard, so to speak, and the front. And there might even be a solution where the windowsill is up, so it looks out over something. And that part of the floor is up and has a couple steps into the, in the room. There's some really nice designs that could be done to accommodate that situation. So it's both a maintenance thing, it's also not having windows that look out at the back of a sign.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any commissioners opposed to the motion at this time? Hearing no opposition, that motion is adopted by unanimous consent. Thank you very much, commissioners. Before moving on to the report of the activities on the Historical Commission, there is an attendee of the meeting that asked if we could reopen the first item, the Wanamaker Building 1301-25 Chestnut Street, Unit A, so that he can make a comment on it. We're going to grant him that request. So we can reopen that for the record so that this member of the meeting from the public can comment.
So if you would like to comment on this matter, please raise your hand. And one hand is raised. Jay Farrell.
Please go ahead, Mr. Farrell.
Hello. I didn't need to comment on the agenda item itself. Just as a matter of procedure, my understanding that the consent agenda itself, even if it only consists of one item, is supposed to be open for comment from the public, and that didn't happen earlier in the meeting, so I just wanted to make a note of that. I like what I see of the proposal that's been submitted for both the Grand Court and the exterior, and that's basically all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Sorry about that. I thought I did open it up to comment for the public, but thank you for that note. If there's no other comments on the Wanamaker Building, yes, we'll move on to the report of activities of the Historical Commission staff, which I think for today we will forego. And I will make a motion to conclude this 761st meeting of the Philadelphia Historical Commission.
Second.
Great. Seeing no opposition, that motion is adopted. Thank you very much to our staff for all the work that they do. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, the public, and Happy New Year to everybody.